Well, good Sunday morning. Thanks for joining us here on 10 Tampa Bay Plus and First Coast News Plus. I'm meteorologist James Hopkins, joined by Ross, and we are looking at actually a pretty nice stretch of weather coming up here, starting for us today. It did start kind of yesterday. We have a lot of cloud cover out there yesterday. That is all gone. Sunshine is here. But Ross, I understand that you're not quite done with the weather just yet. You're getting ready to get your nice stretch of weather.
Yeah, we've been busy with the nor'easter conditions here across much of northeast Florida, southeast Georgia, and the winds have been just rampant the last couple of days. We've had 30, 45 mile per hour gusts even out at our beachhead, but the nor'easter very slowly moving away up towards the Carolinas, so we're going to have improving conditions here, and thankfully some drier skies, a little bit more sunshine over the coming days.
Yeah, for us, we did have the wind yesterday. That was pretty much the impact for us. We had a little bit of rain Thursday into Friday as the front came through. And then yesterday, it was all about the clouds and the breezy conditions, small craft advisory, stuff like that. But you can see there on the satellite radar, it is now moving its way up the coast of the Carolinas. It'll gradually move its way up and out. So, again, for the day today, we're great. But, Russ, you're still dealing with a little bit. What's your forecast looking like?
Well, for our beaches and really any of our coastal communities, James, we're still watching for, the high risk of rip currents in some locations. But then along with that, we've got the coastal flood advisory still in place for Duval County, which is where Jacksonville is, up across our coastal southeast Georgia counties, and really anyone up and down the intercoastal here on the First Coast. But we have a coastal flood warning that was for nearly the entirety of our coastal areas and the St. Johns River Basin. That is now just for the St. Johns River from now through Tuesday at about 8 p.m. We'll have that kind of coastal flood advisory still in place for, the potential during those periods of high tide. Water could be anywhere from about 2 to 3 feet above normal dry ground. But overall, our more of a offshore wind and offshore flow should help things to improve with regards to our tidal zones and our coastal areas here for the next couple of days. Otherwise, we got lots of sunshine out there today. It's a little bit of a cooler start. We've had some drier air kind of wrapped around on the backside of this system. And that has helped dew points drop a little bit. It's also pulled those temperatures down. So many of us woke up, temperatures this morning only upper 50s, low 60s for a lot of us out there.
Yeah, we're kind of dealing with the same thing here because it's all about, we've been talking about the past couple of months up to the north. Oh, we finally get a taste of fall. And, of course, everyone's talking about pumpkin spice. But this is finally our taste for fall. You've had some mornings in the 60s, but this is our first. So we're starting to finally feel pretty good. And around our area, we're just looking perfect for the day today. So let's dive right in. So we have, again, looking across the area, we do have a lot of sunshine. As you can see, this is the difference from what we had yesterday. So yesterday we did have a lot of cloud cover out there, and today we're dealing with the sunshine. And again, for the breezy conditions, those have gradually been dying down. So we are looking at just a perfect Sunday ahead. Take a look out overlooking Tampa. You can't even find a cloud in the sky. That's pretty nice. And same thing out from St. Petersburg. Looking off towards the east, you can barely see Tampa on the far left-hand side of the screen there, off in the distance. Again, it's looking great. And for the beaches, a much better beach forecast for the day today. We did have winds about 10 to 20 miles an hour yesterday. They died down, and they're continuing to go down. So for your beach forecast for the day today, you're going to be up around 80 as we go throughout your afternoon. So again, all in all, just great across the area. Now, for the marine forecast, you still need to exercise caution. Again, the wind's coming down, so winds out of the north about 15 to 20 knots at times, coming down to about 10 to 15 a little later this afternoon. We have seas at about 2 to 4 feet. And we do have moderate chop in the bay. And again, that will get better this afternoon. But it's really all about this extended forecast. Today's kind of just the first day. Gulf temperature's 81 degrees. So it's kind of getting there, the threshold where, especially with our temperatures around 80, that you might not be hot enough to want to get in that water. UV index is a 7. So again, not nearly as breezy as yesterday. We're seeing our winds, as you can see, single digits with a few wind gusts out there, but Nothing like what we had yesterday or the day before, and temperatures are feeling fantastic. And here we are again, just a few minutes after 11 o'clock, and it's low to mid 70s for most of us. Port Manatee sitting at 68 degrees. So still feeling great, and we're going to continue to feel great as we go throughout the day. So look at the 24-hour temperature change. For a lot of us, we are seeing not much of a difference. 1 to 2 degrees plus or 1 to 2 degrees minus, a little bit warmer up the north. And again, you got to remember, the reason why we're a little warmer is because we're dealing with sunshine for today. Had a lot of thick cloud cover for the first half of yesterday. But look at these dew points, anywhere from 58 to about 66. And this, again, is already feeling better. Dew point change, anywhere from 4 to 7 degrees cooler than what we had this time yesterday. And the humidity trend is actually going to be going down a little bit as we go into Monday. So we're going to continue to feel even better as we go throughout today into tomorrow. It does come up a little bit on Tuesday. We do have a cold front coming through towards the middle of the week, but not going to see much really out of that. So for today, we got mid-80s. So lots of sunshine, and it's going to be comfortable for us as we go throughout our day today. And this is the great thing. So mid-80s with the heat index of 84. So not really looking at anything that is going to make you feel any hotter. So that's actually fantastic. So getting right to it, the Bucks got a game today. Now it is a 4:25 kickoff, and you are going to see just perfect conditions that pretty much what we had 2 weeks ago. We had 95 with a heat index of about 104. So we had, again, a heat index. And then this past week, they were away in Seattle, and it was 64. So that's what was really nice, is that we felt great last week for that win. So 49ers come to town. When you're tailgating out there, you're looking at temperatures in the low 80s all the way through your early afternoon. We're going to top out about 84 to 85 this afternoon, and we have lots of sunshine, which is great. So looking good, feeling good. Wind not a factor. We look at our winds out of the northwest, about 5 to 10 miles an hour, so all is good there. And Ross, I know you've got Jacksonville. They're at home today. How's their forecast looking?
Yeah, Jags are back home here yet again today after their big Monday night win against the Chiefs last Monday night. Of course, we're welcoming who you guys played last week, the Seattle Seahawks, here to town. Our kickoff a little bit earlier than yours down there in Tampa, 1 p.m. here. But similarly, I mean, we really couldn't ask for a nicer forecast locally. As I mentioned, it was a little bit of a cooler start earlier this morning. Temperatures were in the low 60s, but we're expecting kickoff temperatures in the mid-70s this afternoon. And then as the game wears on, upper 70s, so a little bit cooler than what you've got there in Tampa. But with regards to just how it's going to feel out there, lots of sunshine. Rather comfortable temperatures. We've got a little bit of a nice northwesterly breeze, anywhere from about 10 to 15 miles per hour. But very little rain chances, if any at all, are going to be in the forecast locally here. Now, one place we are going to be watching for after the game ends for the Jags is going to be up across southeastern Georgia. We've got some counties up there. We're going to have a little bit of some wraparound moisture and flow from that nor'easter that's moving up towards the Carolinas. And that will bring a little bit of an increase in cloud cover by the fourth quarter and the end of the game, and perhaps a little bit of at least some light rain activity, or perhaps even some showers and drizzle up across southeastern Georgia. I think I do have that pulled up here in a moment. Chloe, can we switch the source? There we go. I think that might be right now. Maybe it was just behind a little bit. So there is a look at our high tides. Today, I talked about the coastal flood advisories. We'll still monitor those today and into tomorrow. But really, the key takeaway here, James, is that although our tidal conditions are still a worry, they're going to gradually improve over the next couple of days. And high pressure moving in behind that nor'easter. So drier skies, a little bit more sunshine, calmer conditions as a whole. So any outdoor plans you have, you're looking A-OK here for more than likely the next couple of days. Not only here in Jax, but also there in Tampa as well.
Typically, whenever I start these, I go like, hey, we got a lot of stuff to get to. Let's dive right in. This is the first time in a long time we really don't have that much to talk about because we're putting together what is going to be a very nice dry stretch of weather. And actually, with the tropics, which we'll get to in just a few minutes, are not too bad either. So let's go ahead and get to the extended forecast. And again, we're looking fantastic. As you can see on the satellite radar, there's nothing going on right now. There's what Ross was talking about in Georgia, South Georgia, North Florida. They're dealing with some of that wraparound moisture due to that low that, again, is working its way up the coast, and that will continue to do so. As you can see, bringing a lot of rain. That red right there is a flood advisory between Charleston and Georgetown, South Carolina. You can see heavy rain circulating its way through Myrtle Beach up towards Wilmington and inland. And I don't have a forecast for this because this is not the area to do it in, but the Panthers take on the Cowboys today in Charlotte, and they are calling for a little bit of rain. Luckily, they're on kind of the outer edge of that. You can see where this is where Charlotte is right here. So again, not dealing with too much there. So we'll move on. I know nobody here wants to hear about the Panthers forecast. So we're looking at, again, a nice stretch of weather. So there's the low. It's going to be working its way up the coast, a little bit of wraparound up to the north, but here in Tampa, things are looking great. That does move its way out as we go throughout the next couple of days. Now, we do have a cold front that's going to move its way down into the area as we go throughout the day on Wednesday. Now, this one's going to come through dry. Not going to do really anything for us, but keep the weather we have now in place, which is good news. So it's just going to reinforce that dry air into the area, and that pushes down to the south, kind of stalls as we go into the weekend. And you can see here Saturday into Sunday, we have some high pressure building in. You see our flow kind of shifting from Saturday into Sunday. And then I'm tracking another cold front, but you could see as we go late in the day on Sunday. So there's Sunday at 8 a.m. You take this on out to about 8 p.m., and we're still not looking at much of a chance to rain there. Now, again, this is a week out, so we'll see exactly where this front goes, if this front even comes in, because if this front is stretching to our north, which this European model actually suggests that it's going to stay up to the north, that it could keep the rain around. So leading up to that, look at our expected rainfall. Now, this graphic isn't blank. This just means we have no chance for rain. You see nothing on there, which, again, we haven't seen for quite some time. Dew point forecast. This is probably where it's a little bit better because you can see it does go down a little bit more for tomorrow. And then it goes up a little bit Tuesday ahead of that front, and that front comes in and just keeps the low 60s around. And even going into Saturday, it looks like our dew points are going to be going down a little bit lower. Again, with that high pressure building into the north on Saturday, we'll have more north flow. Then on Sunday is when it moves its way further offshore. We got our flow in from the east and then southeast. So look at your forecast for the precipitable water. And again, this just shows that dry air coming in, and it's going to be hanging out. So there's the low taking off. There's early Tuesday. That dry air just kind of continues to hang out. So there's Thursday. Again, there is that front coming through, very limited moisture with it. So expecting that to come through dry. It pushes down. There's the high pressure. And here we go into Saturday. You can still see that nice dry air in place. And then watch the cold front here. And again, this is the extended European model. Watch the cold front just kind of stretch out to the north of us and not actually come through. That keeps this moisture around, and it looks like it could be lingering Tuesday, maybe into Wednesday. So here it is. Sunday it does go up, but again, this looks to be after sunset if the timing holds than what we're seeing right now. So things are looking pretty good for us down here in Tampa as we go into the start of the weekend. And then you see it jump up Monday and kind of hold for Tuesday with that front. It's kind of hanging out there. So we're looking at that being our next best chance to rain. Look at that dry week from today all the way through Saturday. Just not enough mid-level moisture there to bring us any rain chance. And again, with our low dew points, it's just going to feel fantastic. Here's your 7-day forecast here for Tampa. And you can see again, today, beautiful for the Bucs game. We got mid-80s. We do go up a few degrees to 87, which is average for us this time of year. And we're going to still be starting our days in the upper 60s from 67 to 68, and then goes up a little bit Friday into Saturday. But again, dealing with a lot of sunshine as we go throughout the entire week and into next weekend. And again, might bring a little chance of rain in Sunday, but it looks like we have a pretty nice weekend upcoming. So that's good to have 2 good weekends kind of back to back. Excuse me, Ross, what's your 7-day forecast looking like?
Rather similar to what yours is looking like there. A lot of sunshine, a lot of dry time out there. Now, our temperature is going to be a little bit cooler. Most of our morning lows going to be down in the low 70s, or excuse me, low 60s each morning. So we're going to have some cooler starts, similar to what we experienced out there today. So we are going to have to, keep the sweatshirts, or at least, the long sleeve shirts handy. You might need that at least initially when you first wake up and head out the door. But then each and every single afternoon, temperature's going to warm up, upper 70s, lower 80s. That'll fluctuate about 2 to 3 degrees pretty much each day here through our upcoming week in Jacksonville. But very similar to what you've just kind of covered there, James. That dry air pretty much locked into place along with the high pressure. It's going to really just put a damper on any significant rain chances here through the end of the week and into the weekend. So just like you, we're going to be watching next Sunday into the early part of next week to kind of be our next weather maker here, where we could see our next best chance for rain, perhaps some thunderstorms as well. But until then, we've got a solid 5-6 days of just pretty calm, quiet weather. Nothing to really, ride home about all that much. So kind of a rarity for this time of the year. More often than not, if we're not getting rain or storms from some front moving through, we would often see it from some level of a tropical system, whether that was a tropical storm or hurricane or whatever it may be. And thankfully, in our case, we're not seeing that right now, but typically, we do get some level of tropical moisture and tropical rains to be, reaching either in Tampa or up here in Northeast Florida, and we're really just not seeing that here right now. I know for the month of October, we're already about an inch below average in Jacksonville specifically with regards to rainfall. For the month or for the year as a whole, we're about 7 inches below average. So it's actually been a rather dry 2 to 3 months here in Jax, and certainly the dry weather and the sunshine that we're going to be seeing over the next 5 or 6 days is not going to impact that or help that very much. But nonetheless, James, we do still have at least some tropical activity to talk about out there in the tropics right now, and of course, we still have about another month and a half left in the Atlantic hurricane season here as well.
And luckily, Jerry's gone. And I've been talking about Jerry for the past week and the struggles that Jerry's had with really dry air. And it looks like we could get help with this next system with that one as well. So let's get right to it. Yeah, your tropical update. We have a 40% potential for tropical development over the next 2 days. We have 50% potential as we go throughout the next 7 days. So this is the next thing that we're watching. Again, this right here is what's left over of Jerry. I just have it on there. There's actually not even a low. That's actually dissipated, just to show you what that swirl is right there. So that is Jerry, the remnants of Jerry. It's really nothing. Again, with Bermuda, probably, thanking their lucky stars that one didn't come through. Bermuda's had a pretty rough hurricane season so far, and that's pretty much where everything has steered towards for the entire hurricane season. So now we're watching this next one. And again, this is Invest 97L, 35-mile-per-hour winds moving to the west-northwest at 20 miles an hour. So as you can see, it might be a little hard to see, but you can see this line where it started to make that west-northwest turn. And so this is what we're going to be tracking as we go throughout this upcoming week. Now, here we have our names list. Lorenzo is the next name on the list. Of course, Karen was subtropical. Again, I won't get into my opinions on Karen not even need to be named, but there you go. It's on the list anyway, and it's already off the list. I think it lived for maybe 36 hours. But, we're done with Karen. Now we're on to Lorenzo, and we have the potential for this to be Lorenzo as we go throughout the next couple days. So here's the good news. Look at your models on this one. So your high pressure is up to the north, and it's going to be sliding its way to the east, then back down to the south. And again, We have the remnants of Jerry in there. We have a trough that's pushing its way across the East Coast. That nor'easter that we have moved to the coast got a lot of stuff going on that really could hinder this one from developing. So the Saharan dust, that is one. This is the dry mid-levels I was talking about. And again, there is the remnants of Jerry. It has been battling this the entire time. Never did make it to a hurricane, which of course is great news. Great news for pretty much everybody involved. It went towards the Leeward Islands, just north of the Leeward Islands, made that turn towards Bermuda and died out. Now we're watching this one. And again, as we go throughout the next couple of days, look at the forecast models and look at that dry air. Again, it's going to be battling dry air as it makes that turn to the north as we go throughout midweek. And still is kind of holding on to that as we go towards the end of the week. There's that big curve around. And then this is where forecast models have it dying out. It's kind of hanging out in that same area for the weekend and into next week. So forecast models, again, all of them show it staying away. Not many of them really showing it much. And actually, the consensus of the intensity models show this one only making it to tropical storm status, not even hurricane. Again, that could potentially change. But when you have that much dry air in place, it is kind of hard. So here's your GFS model. And here it is right here. And again, leftovers of Jerry's around here. There is the nor'easter. And again, just got a lot going on here. So as you can see with those forecasted winds, there's going to be some shear up to the north. It does start to make a little bit of a curve there. Got to try to follow it here. It is here. Now, forecast models are suggesting possibly another wave coming off the coast, which is what this is here. So that's not the one we're watching. And we're all the way to Friday. That one's up here. Here's your circulation of high pressure. So it's going to go up and around the high pressure and then potentially dying out. Again, there goes your nor'easter. That's the big one up here. And again, that is not tropical. That is a cold core low that is embedded there in that big trough. And then watch what happens here. Now, again, this is just the GFS model. Now it shows the potential for a little something maybe working its way into the Caribbean as we go into next week. The European hinted on this yesterday but does not have it now. So again, there is 97 right there. And it does the same thing. It goes up. It kind of curves around that area of high pressure. Stop it. It is right there. There's your high. And it tries to form a little something here. But as you can see, as it crosses over into the Caribbean, not seeing very much. But this is what we're going to keep our eyes on as we go throughout the week. Look at your forecasted wind shear. So again, dealing with a lot of wind shear up to the north of this system. There is your nor'easter. And again, it's part of that big trough there. There's your high pressure. But what I want you to focus on, again, we're not worried about 97L. What I want you to focus on as we go into next weekend and early next week, look at the Caribbean and the Southern Gulf. There is not much wind shear there. So that is where we're keeping our eyes on for the future. So here we are into hurricane season again. We are on to today being the 12th, so already into a third of the month. And again, activity is going down. So far, a recap, 11 named storms, 4 hurricanes, and the first 3 of those were major hurricanes. And again, as I've mentioned before, the first time since the early 30s, we've had back-to-back years with multiple 2 Cat 5 systems. So this is where we're making our shift through the month of October. And we do have, again, our outlook. And Ross, talking about the outlook, we are going to be kind of shifting our focus as we go throughout the next couple of weeks of where mainly we're going to be watching for these tropics. So, Ross, do you have those graphics up of what we're going to be watching for as we go throughout the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, James, I believe we have them here for you. We've had a couple of graphics issues here this morning, but I believe we can take them full. One of those areas you kind of talked about out in the central Atlantic, there is a low 20% chance of probability or development kind of in that 2-week range looking further out. So if we're able to pull those graphics up, that would be great. There we go, yes. But as you mentioned, James, the Caribbean is really the hotbed spot that ourselves and the National Hurricane Center are going to be really honing in on here over the next couple of weeks. So this is from October 15th to October 21st. This is the Global Tropics Hazards Outlook put out by the Climate Prediction Center. You notice that 40 and 60% formation probabilities are heightened, much more so across southern Mexico and really much of Central America. Why is that? Well, part of it, as you mentioned, James, is the lack of wind shear, but you combine that then with just the overall ocean heat content within the Western Caribbean as a whole. Now, you'll notice Northern Gulf has cooled down substantially. Similar story here locally in Jacksonville. We've had plenty of fronts come through. We've had lots of rains in some locations as well. So the actual heat and energy deeper within the ocean has subsided some. But down towards Cuba, Jamaica, the Yucatan, there is still a lot of moisture, heat, energy that really has been untapped up to this point in the Atlantic hurricane season. So if there were to be a low pressure system or some level of a system that would try to spin up and develop down there in the Caribbean, it would certainly have a lot of juice to use up there and to try and fuel itself. But of course, the later and later we get into the season, typically you get more fronts and dips in the jet streams that more often than not can try to drive or steer some of those potential systems away from us. But at least over the next couple of weeks, this is really going to be the area that we're watching. If there's going to be another big storm that could perhaps impact a lot of folks, this would be the area that would more than likely be coming from here, James.
And why we're looking at that area, is this typically where we look for this time of year? Because the African monsoon season dies out. And I know you've looked at, and probably a lot of people at home have heard, talking about the upcoming